All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Power. So I wanted to give you guys my initial impressions of both Phil Heath and Big Ramy from the 2018 Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. Now, again, the Pittsburgh Pro is essentially like a preview of all the bodybuilders, the top guys that compete at the Mr. Olympia, to see them in their off-season form and kind of get an idea of what they're going to look like going into the Olympia. Now, obviously, since they're in the off-season form, you don't really know too much what their conditioning is going to look like. You pretty much just know how big they've gotten in the offseason. So one of the things that stands out to me, first we're going to look at Phil Heath here. Now, honestly, I actually think Phil Heath looked really good here. Now, again, it's the offseason, so obviously he's going to be a bit bloated, a little bit watery, and have a little bit of fat on him. But honestly, from the midsection standpoint, which was his number one weakness at the Olympia, I got to say it's not really looking distended. Again, this is an off-season bodybuilder. And the fact that you're not really seeing much of, if any, distension in his gut at this point in the game, I think for Phil Heath, that is a really good sign. Now, I just want to remind you guys that if Phil Heath wins the 2018 Olympia, that will be his 8th Mr. Olympia win. So he will be tied with Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney for the record of most Mr. Olympia wins. So arguably, this coming Mr. Olympia is the most important Mr. Olympia of Phil Heath's career, next to the first one that he won in 2011. I think Phil knows this. I think he's not playing any games going into this Olympia. He has no intention of losing that Olympia. So I think this year in 2018, we're going to see a version of Phil Heath that I think is not going to have a bubble gut. I think he's going to, maybe that hernia surgery really did help. Maybe he has brought down the size of his waist. Whatever it is that he's doing that he thinks he needs to do, I think he's going to get that done. And we're going to see Phil Heath come correct for the 2018 Mr. Olympia because he knows it's not going to be an easy Olympia for him. He knows that 2017 wasn't an easy Olympia for him. And I know he wants more than anything to tie that record, if not go on to break that record. So this is arguably the most important Olympia in his career. And again, I think he's going to come ready. Now with Big Ramy, it's really no surprise with Big Ramy. It's kind of the same thing we see every year. He does these guest posings. Obviously, he's going to look gigantic. He's going to look freaky. He's going to look huge. He's going to look enormous. And he's going to post a lot of pictures leading up to the Olympia that are going to look freaky and huge and enormous. We see this every single year. I will say again, even though this is the offseason, he does look to be in slightly better shape than Phil Heath looks. He looks to have less body fat. He looks to be a little bit leaner than Phil Heath, while at the same time being Big Ramy, being this giant bodybuilder. So he does have that going for him, but that doesn't really mean much. We still have, 6 or 7 months until the Olympia. So the conditioning in all these guys is obviously going to change dramatically from now to the Olympia. But like I said, man, Big Ramy, it's just a case where he never disappoints in the offseason. He's always going to be, this larger-than-life bodybuilder. But it only really matters what he brings to the stage on the day of the Mr. Olympia. So as much reason as people have to dislike Phil Heath, the bubble gut thing, his personality, whatever the case may be, Phil Heath has me blocked on Instagram. He said some negative things about me myself. So I have just as much reason as anybody to be biased or dislike Phil Heath. But I got to say, man, he does look good in this offseason video. And I think his chances of coming in 2018 without a gut, looking good, and doing enough to win, I think he has a very good chance of tying that record of 8 Mr. Olympia. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the off-season version of Phil Heath and Big Ramy. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.